And today I want to highlight why we chose UC Berkeley as our venue. UC Berkeley is home to over 100 Nobel laureates, a legacy of discoveries spanning multiple elements in the periodic table, and a long-standing tradition for free speech and open dialogue. Blue Robins, the company I founded last year, was started right here in Berkeley. We are proud to be part of Berkeley Skydeck, the startup accelerator here at UC Berkeley. At this point, I would like to invite Caroline Winnett from Berkeley Skydeck to the stage. Caroline is the executive director of Berkeley Skydeck. She is a serial entrepreneur, investor, and advisor, and has played a key role in building Skydeck into the #1 university innovation accelerator in the world. Next slide, next slide. She is also the Cal alumni from UC Berkeley Haas School of Business and has been deeply involved in advancing entrepreneurship and the startup innovation ecosystem at Cal. Please join me in giving her a warm welcome.
Thank you, Raji. And good morning, everybody. Thank you for showing up here at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Don't you love doing that? Okay, I gotta laugh. Good. All right, so I like to walk around, but now it's like the screen's on my face, right? So I have to standing here. And did they have to look at my face this whole time? Okay, I'll try to say something interesting. Let's talk about innovation, shall we? So, with that, of course, my very first question is, actually, before my first question, I am so fascinated with this crowd. Middle schoolers. How many middle schoolers do we have here? Fantastic. High schoolers. How many high schoolers? Elementary. Yeah, I met the 7-year-old, this young gentleman here. Oh, this is amazing. I went upstairs and saw the posters, and the titles of those posters are what you'd see on campus at a postdoctoral gathering. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. Wow. Had a nice chat with a budding neuroscientist about music in the brain. So that was, I didn't know what to expect today, but it's already exceeded my expectations, and I'm incredibly happy to talk to you. So yes, innovation. What's my first question? My first question is, what's your favorite pizza? Shout it out. Pepperoni, pineapple. Anybody pineapple here? Any pineapple? Okay, we got you. Cheese pizza, just veg, non-veg. I'm a veg. I mean, not a veg all the time, but pizza veg. So why am I asking this question? Imagine you're at a party. There's 10 friends, 1 pizza, 8 slices. How do you divide it up? Who doesn't get pizza? Now, I all know you can do math, and you can figure out how many slices to cut it into so it's equal, right? The point is there's only so much pizza. It's a limited amount. And if you get some, you don't get some, right? This is what economists call, anybody know what this is? Yes, zero-sum event. If I take some from one side of the equation to go to the other, somebody loses. Most of the world in modern human history has operated on zero sum. And we've seen the outcome of that, right? We've seen how that has gone. Kind of okay, kind of not okay, right? Past generations have not gotten much traction. There's a little bit of non-zero sum that's happening for sure. But my generation, boomer, hasn't gotten it right. I think yours might. I think your generation is the generation to do that. So yes, I am a boomer. I am one of the last years of the boomers, the generation that your teachers like to say caused all the problems. And we deserve a lot of that. What do boomers do? Well, we take oil and coal out of the ground. We burn it. Do we worry about the smoke? Yes, because we have to because of the EPA, right? Do we worry about the workers? Yeah, maybe. Did we worry about the planet? No, we did not. And lots of people got rich on all of this resource extraction and labor use, sometimes exploitation, but labor use. If you were the right gender, you had the right last name, the right skin color, right? That was pretty much how it operated. So here we are today. We've seen how that has worked out, right? And interestingly, did you know, despite all this, we did get some things right. Humans did do some things right. The last years of the 19th century, the 1900s, and the early years of the 2000s were the most prosperous time in all of modern human history. The least amount of famine, the least amount of wars and conflicts, the most number of people around the world having equal and civil rights, right? The most prosperous. In fact, there came a time recently when more people died of too much food than not enough. So we didn't do things perfect, but incredibly prosperous by comparison to previous generations, right? And so about 20 years ago, we globally kind of looked at all of this and went, nah, let's have more conflict. Let's have more wars, right? Let's have more arguments. We have a war in the Middle East or whatever it is going on in the Middle East, right? We have now people wanting to go backwards, and not just in the United States, around the world. And I'm sure you guys all know this. This is not news to you, right? So all this is happening. So the world is now kind of super crazy. It all seems a little bit crazy. But right now we just sent some humans around the moon, right? And two of those humans, one was a woman and one was a person of color. Unthinkable when I was your age. Unthinkable. And now in my lifetime, that's happened. I'm incredibly proud of that. We should be proud of that. At the same time, that pizza, that non-zero-sum pizza, is kind of burning, right? Your generation can't afford to kick that can down the road like mine did, right? We weren't thinking about climate change. We were thinking about all sorts of other stuff and some very good things. You have to think about it, right? This young man who's 7 years old, he's thinking about it. Yeah, you. Azai is thinking about it. And this young woman, and all of you, you're all thinking about it. It's part of your daily thought, right? That's why I think things might actually change when you're in charge, or even when you're just becoming to be in charge. So there are people doing non-zero-sum thinking now, right? You've heard a number of them, especially very young people, right? You've heard of course, Malala Yousafzai, youngest winner of the Nobel Prize, advocated for women and girls' education after getting shot in the head, right? She didn't take education away from boys. She gave it to women too. That's non-zero-sum. Have you heard of Boyan Slat, the ocean cleanup? Has anybody heard of this young man? So Boyan is, I think, Norwegian, and when he was 16, he was scuba diving in Greece, and he saw all this plastic in the water, and he went, no bueno. So when he was 18, he dropped out of college, not recommending this. Don't worry, parents. I'm not. I recommend you go to college. But it happens. He dropped out of college. He founded the Ocean Cleanup, and he sketched on a napkin, I think when he was in Greece, a giant boat with a huge net. And he has since expanded this project. He sailed around the world with these boats and collected something like 50 million cubic something yards. A ton of plastic has been cleaned up. And, you know, when you start something like that, how do you keep it going, right? There's a lot of excitement at the beginning and people come and join, right, and give you money. He's kept it going, starting at 18, right? And I bet you've heard of Gitanjali Rao, right? First kid of the year. At what age was she kid of the year? Very young, right? Another entrepreneur, Mosiah Bridges, Mose Bows. When he was 9, he went to a store and he wanted to buy a bow tie. And he went, I don't like any of these bow ties. So he started a company, he got on Shark Tank, he got investment, and he's doing very well. And he knows it's important to be non-zero-sum. He's donating some of his profits to socioeconomically lower income children in his original neighborhood so that they can go to summer camp and learn. Non-zero-sum. There's a lot of them, right? All right, I have a cheat sheet. Where's my cheat sheet? I have a next topic. I usually never do this, but I've never spoken on this before to young people. I'm usually speaking to older people, so this is great. All right, so as you know, I run Skydeck, UC Berkeley's startup accelerator. We do have several. I proudly wear my Cal colors. And so what do? We accelerate startups, not just from Berkeley, but from around the world. They come to Skydeck. We host about 120 startups a year, so we're quite busy, including Blue Robins, which we are delightful to have in our program, and as an alum. And we often take startups, the founders have great credentials. They went to Berkeley, they went to MIT, they won some prize, et cetera, et cetera. They're credentialed, right? You know that word, right? But sometimes we don't, and we try very hard to look for those who are not credentialed. None of you are very credentialed simply because of your age, right? But you're innovating. People should listen to you. You have the ideas that we need to get past this burning non-zero-sum pizza. So we do sometimes do that. One of the founders in our program, a young man who came to us from the UK, Connell McLaughlin, dropped out of college, again, not recommending, don't worry parents, to start a company called Route Reports, and he came up with a better way to plan logistics for buses in London. Now, why is that a good thing to do? You've already figured it out. Less energy, right? Less labor issues, more efficient, same number of people working there, not firing people, but happier workers, less fuel, all that good stuff. And he's doing very well, right? Came to us at 19, he hadn't gone to a great university. It is my generation's job to make sure that we don't look for a nice long resume of credentials in the people that we want to support, like you, who are 7 or 10 or 12 or 17, right? We need to be able to see your talent without having to have been proved by someone else how smart and talented you are. That's our job. That's what we're trying to do, okay? So at Skydeck, and one of the reasons I'm so proud to work at Berkeley, and this Raji mentioned it a bit. Do you know what the 3 things Berkeley does are? There's just 3 things. Very simple. One is, of course, teaching, right? We teach. Second one is research. We do great research, and I bet all of you kids in this room are tapping into that. What's the third? Does anybody know what the third basic thing we do is at Berkeley? Anybody know? Yes. Innovating? I love that. We do that. And what that innovation does, it leads to this third official thing that we do, public service. Public service. We're one of the few universities in the world. In fact, I will postulate we are the only university in the world that has our level of excellence, Nobel Prizes, research, all the amazing things that we do, and has as a basic operating principle, public service. Harvard does not have that. Great school, wonderful school. Stanford doesn't have that. Great school, wonderful school. Berkeley has that. That is why I am so proud to be here at Berkeley. Thank you. So what do we do at Skydeck that's non-zero sum? We're helping startups. And some of them are trying to cure cancer and do stuff, and some of them are just trying to make a giant company doing AI software, right? How are we 100% zero sum? I'll tell you how. When I joined Skydeck 11 years ago, I said, let's do an accelerator. An accelerator means you make the companies go faster. That's all that means. You can't go very fast if you don't have any money as a company. So I said, we need a fund. And Berkeley said, I was new to Berkeley at the time, we can't do that. We're a public university. We can't do venture capital. You all know what venture capital is, right? No. Venture capital is an investment fund that invests in startups. That's what they do, right? Thank you for asking me that. That's important to know. 2 minutes. Okay, so to get around this constraint, I found someone to launch a dedicated venture fund. That's the Berkeley Skydeck Fund. And that fund invests in the companies in our program and shares half the fund profits with campus. Not as a please do that, fund manager, but as a nice legal agreement signed by lawyers. So every company in our program is contributing to Berkeley's mission of teaching, research, and public service. Venture capital, private venture capital, public university got together. That's non-zero sum thinking. It's not a new technology. It's not a scientific discovery. You can do non-zero sum in many ways, right? So to wrap up, I got a minute. We're in Berkeley. A few blocks from here, there was the epicenter of the free speech movement. The absolute core of the energy that said, in a very Berkeley way, question the status quo. We don't like the status quo. It was 60 years ago, and I was a small child at that point, but I could tell, even as a small child, something's different. The way we're thinking is different. Old ways of thinking are being kicked out. And we did kick out us young boomers, well, the older boomers, not me, at that time. They went to a lot of, Woodstock, good stuff too, and smoked a lot of you-know-what. But they also really changed mindsets. I feel like that's about to happen again right now. And the people who are going to do that, all of you. So go forth and innovate, no zero sum, think how to make the world a better place with everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline, and it was amazing, the zero-sum game. When I came to UC Berkeley Skydeck, and the first day of PAD 13 program, they said, all the profits that come, they donated to UC Berkeley, and their mission is to see every student get free education at UC Berkeley. Big hands to her for that. It's her vision.